Hi guys!
Hey everybody.
Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. I know it's been probably about 4 weeks since our last video. We have been unwinding some of our own
challenges.
Yeah, it's been pretty heavy and pretty busy, and we're finally feeling outside of the loop enough now to come to you with what we feel is kind of interesting.
No, it's something we've both been dealing with recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so here we are sitting on the plains of Abraham in Quebec City, which is in Quebec, the province, and in the country of Canada, if you're not familiar. And we're here on a little mini vacay because my big, sweet, strong, handsome man just did a competition.
I did the Centrals, so Ontario, Quebec, and
for
powerlifting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so on the track for nationals, so that's fun. So I'll definitely be talking about my powerlifting in terms of looping, and what that's meant for me. Because I've certainly been beating myself up about my numbers and how I did, and I mean I hit the numbers. I qualify for nationals, and that's not good enough. So I've been really beating myself up, especially on my bench. I had 2 misses. Obviously, in powerlifting, you have to make a lift or else you bomb out and you can't compete the contest. So obviously I did make 1, but I missed on 2. And so I've been really beating myself up about that.
And it's not uncommon. I watched many others also miss
Yes.
on many of their tries. But yes, we are all the hardest on ourselves. And that's part of what we're here to talk about is the loops that play over and over in our minds that keep us in a low frequency because we can't seem to break that loop. And there's many different types of loops. And we're going to discuss those and how we can help pull ourselves out of those loops when we find ourselves in one. So we did not come prepared this week to do a video, so our notes are on our phone. And we're winging it here in the park. The phone is leaning up against my purse. We're just, hey, you know what, when inspiration hits,
it is all good. It's a beautiful day and a beautiful place.
It is.
And I know that all of us kind of deal with looping, so to speak. And so I think this will be very helpful. Yeah,
and looping thoughts are replaying the same scenario, imagining what we should have said or should have done, mentally rehearsing the conflict over and over and over in our minds. Looping conversations are rehashing stories with friends or partners, seeking relief but actually fueling the ego's grip on the story. So the more you loop it, the more energy you're giving it, and
it just kind of embeds.
Yeah, it does.
Right? The more you tell the story, and it's that concept of sharing something that happened that was negative, and it becomes a part of you.
Yeah. By
sharing it over and over and over again, and it's certainly most difficult to notice in ourselves. But I'm sure that everyone can. If you think about it, if you pay attention, you will observe it in other people, and the reality is that we are doing it also.
Yeah.
And having that sort of negative loop that we keep telling ourselves the same story.
Yes, and sometimes you're a witness to it. Sometimes you're the one listening to somebody else in their loop, and boy, can it be frustrating, especially when you're really close with that person, and every time you get together, you have to rehash the same old stories and the victimization and the guilt and the blame and it's like I personally can't sit in that energy anymore. It's actually making me deeply uncomfortable the more I release of my own guilt, shame, loop, all of that stuff. So another instantiation, I can never say that word properly, is the ego tie-in. Looping is the ego's attempt to control an unresolved feeling, but instead of releasing it, it just recycles it. Why we loop? It's the ego's job to keep us safe through control. Loops feel like control, but actually drain energy. Unprocessed emotion is another reason why we loop. Looping is a clue that something deeper, fear, shame, grief, or anger hasn't been fully felt. And then there's the light worker twist. Starseeds and empaths often loop harder. A test. Because they pick up energy that isn't even theirs. So, you can, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that unfortunately does happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it is difficult to sit with someone who's in that loop, and every time you speak with them, they're rehashing the same story, talking about the same issue, the same pain, how they can never get something, they can never accomplish something, and it is draining because we take it on, right? As empathic human beings, we take on elements of that pain and bring it into ourselves, and I think that is extremely difficult to deal with.
Well, it's that, and we also have, with these same people, we have energy ties to them. So because we're empaths, we feel like we need to save them and help them out of these loops, when in honesty, they don't even see it. They're not self-aware enough to go, hey, maybe I could feel better if I stopped living in a place of agony and fear. But they're not even there. And
unfortunately, it's not, I mean, there's always exceptions, but in general, it's not like you can say to the person, hey, have you noticed that you're always looping this concern?
Yeah.
Maybe your life, you can't have that conversation because, again, they're not ready to confront it.
No.
And so if you bring it up, then unfortunately you're just going to come across
Defensiveness.
Or as a jerk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Insensitive, not listening, not caring, and so the reality is that those loops, we certainly need to work on our own. And if the relationship's right, you can potentially make the other person aware. You can certainly make me aware.
Yes, that's the nice thing. We can gently make each other aware.
Like, say, for example, if I was consistently looping about how poor my bench press went and how bad my numbers were, that's something that you could make me aware of. And it's funny because this came up at breakfast this morning. This came up just a few hours ago.
Yep. I didn't even know he was looping about his numbers, but I was looping about something else. So I said, let's do a thing on looping. And he's like, yeah, I've been looping. Let's loop together.
Yeah. And it's not about the rationalization. I think it's just about actually just acknowledging,
identifying it, and then stepping out of it consciously. And it's not easy at first, but you are breaking the pattern every time you step out of it consciously, and then it gets easier as you go along, to redirect, and then eventually it doesn't happen anymore. So I channeled a message from Yeshua, aka Jesus, about looping, and so I'll read that now, and then we'll just have a little discussion about what that looks like in deeper ways. So here we go. Yeshua says, beloved ones, looping is the echo of an unquiet mind, circling because it does not trust that release is safe. The ego clings, replaying scenes, rehearsing words, because it fears that without control, you will be hurt again. But I tell you this, you are not meant to live inside of echoes. You are meant to walk in living sound, in the fresh voice of now. When thoughts repeat, do not curse them, simply notice, and breathe my light into the place beneath the thought. For it is not the words that wound you, it is the feeling that waits under them. Allow the feeling to rise, and it will pass through like a wave returning to the sea. Looping conversations with others are the same. The ego feeds on retelling what once cut you, but the spirit is not nourished there. Speak it once with honesty, and then surrender it. Beyond that, silence holds more healing than repetition ever will. The mind seeks resolution through control. The heart finds resolution through trust. When you choose presence over replay, you step out of the circle and onto the straight path of freedom. So when you notice yourself looping, Place your hand on your heart and whisper, I release this into love. Call on me, Yeshua, and I will steady you. You were never meant to walk in circles. You were born to walk as light and in the world. You were born to walk as light in the world. Let the loops fall away and let the song of your soul be heard. And then he closed with, the loop is not your prison. It is your teacher calling you back to me in each breath. So, yeah, that's beautiful. I think it's one of those ones you kind of need to go back and listen to a couple of times because there's so much. Well, everything is always so beautifully worded. That can't come from my head. I'm not terrible with words, but I'm certainly not that eloquent. But yeah, so examples of looping we have here. Now you're saying you're having a tough time reading this, so I'm going to read all of these, and we're just going to chit chat about it. But so there's a few examples here, 5 examples of looping. The what I should have said loop, and I believe my friend Tina from way back called that esprit d'escalier. So it was like what I should have said, like, oh, damn it, I wish I'd have said this in that conversation. That would have been more powerful. So yeah, I'll read that. It says, after a tough conversation, you replay it in your head. I should have said this. I should have stood up for myself. If only I had answered differently. The mind keeps spinning alternate endings, but the energy stays stuck in the past instead of letting you move forward. So, what came to mind as I was reading that?
What?
Miss Congeniality, the movie, when the one girl was on stage, and what would be your idea of a perfect date? And she says, April 25th, because it's not too cold and it's not too hot. I'll bet you she was looping after that.
Yes. Yeah, well, she was. Yeah. She was. But again, that's where it's up to us to recognize it and interrupt it.
Yes.
Right? I love the visualization that you had about physically breaking a ring.
The loop. Yeah.
The loop in your mind. Because I think having those types of mental exercises where you take the moment to recognize it and break it.
Yep.
And then that allows you to just deal with it and let it go.
Yeah. So that's exactly what came to me throughout last night, because I was lying in bed, of course, looping conversations I've had recently, decisions I've made recently, and over and over and over. Did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I should have said this or should have said that, or been this way or that way. And then all of a sudden in my head I heard break the loop, and I was like, oh, thank you. And then I visualized a circle. So what Jason just did, I visualized the loop as a circle in my fingers. Like, this was all in my head at the time. And I visualized doing that and just breaking it. And then it had nowhere else to go. It just went out, and it was just like, oh, and then it literally was gone. Doesn't mean it's not going to come back. But once you start, getting in that practice, it gets easier to the point where that situation won't loop anymore. So the next, the number 2, the why did they do that loop? Someone behaves hurtfully or unpredictably, and you find yourself asking over and over, why would they say that? What did I do wrong? Do they even care about me? The ego thinks if you could figure it out, the pain would stop, but the loop never brings peace.
No, it's someone else's action, and you're not going to be able to, resolve it.
That's right. We've all been there. We've all experienced that, where it's like somebody
Absolutely.
lashes out and you're not sure if it's actually something you did or if they're just in a bad place. And so, yeah, you loop over and over and over, and then we don't realize that sometimes just stepping back and letting it just fall where it needs to, because I don't believe there's ever anything that shouldn't, I have to word this carefully. I think things that come out of your mouth are not always accidents. I may say that gently. Truth telling can come out like blah in a moment when it needs to, and it isn't always pretty.
It can be very hard.
Yeah.
And at times harsh.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah. And then there's the retelling loop.
Oh, yes. We both had lots of experiences with that.
I used to do this all the time. It kept me stuck in the same conflict over and over and over. You tell the same story to multiple people about the conflict at work, the family drama, or the disagreement with a partner. Each retelling feels like it should release it, but it actually recharges the emotional energy. Afterwards, you may feel even heavier than before. And oftentimes, that happens too because the people you're telling are people who are helping you stay in that victim consciousness because they're like, yeah, that was wrong. They shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't have done that. That's not fair.
Well, and the more you retell it, the more it becomes a part of your identity.
Yeah.
And and that is the one of the problems with looping. If you're talking about something negative, if you're talking about something that is harmful to you, being a victim of something, the more you retell the story, the more it becomes a part of your personality. And so you end up being that victim. And that is not a healthy place to live.
It's not. And you'll notice when you're with people who do that, you feel drained after you leave their company. You feel like you've had the light sucked right out of you. And it takes you probably hours or sometimes even days to pull yourself back together. And it's those situations where you need to preserve your energy, you need to protect your energy, and that's not always easy. So then there's also the future worry loop. We're all guilty of this. We're all guilty of all of them, to be honest, but there's some that play out for us more than others. The future worry loop, playing out the same fear again and again. What if this goes wrong? What if we can't pay that bill? What if they leave me? The ego thinks it's preparing you, but really it's keeping you stuck rehearsing disaster instead of creating new possibility.
Yeah, and it is so interesting, and I've spoken with many people about this. You create these scenarios in your head, and you dream up these horrible situations, people's bad reactions, all sorts of stuff, and inevitably it never really materializes like that.
Yeah.
And so it is an unfortunate thing, because it's also so common to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and not be able to go back to sleep because you're worried about one of these future worries.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if you can break that loop, set it to the side, you're going to go back to sleep, get a better sleep, and have a better day.
Breaking that loop also is, it's about replacing that with faith and trust, which a lot of us have to cultivate. Some of us came by faith and trust naturally, and many of us didn't, because but people were raised in fear. So faith is kind of the opposite of fear. So yeah, that was the future worry loop. And then there's...
Before you go on to the next one, I just want to take a moment on faith, and I know that could be its own episode. But having faith, it doesn't have to be in someone. It can be in yourself. It can be in the world in general, that things will work out, that things are going to work out, that they are positive. It's just having that sense of faith, because so often faith is attributed to religion.
Yes.
And so you have to have faith in a God. You have to have faith in one thing, and your faith in that will carry you through. And the reality is, or at least my perception is, that having faith is more, it's more of a state of mind, believing that things will work out for you, rather than believing that some God or some person or something is going to come and save you and take care of you no matter what. It's about that positive belief in life, and that you can manifest goodness in your life. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that, because we were talking about faith.
Yeah, faith is an important one. Yeah, and sometimes simply looking back at your life and looking at other hard situations you've come through, and usually they all lead to something much better. So if you're in a sticky spot and you need to remind yourself how strong you are, look back to those other times in your life when you got through stuff you didn't think you were going to get through, and life looked better on the other side. So yeah, that's faith. The fifth one is the one that I think Jason's going to speak to a lot, but I mean, we all have it. Men, women, children, all of us. The body shame loop. Looking in the mirror or at numbers on a scale or a barbell, and repeating, not enough, not strong enough, not lean enough. The loop keeps you striving and comparing rather than celebrating what is already here. So the fact that you came in second place in a competition of men in their 50s.
Just felt my heart drop.
I know, but I think that's fantastic. We're in another province at a national competition.
Yeah.
You're in your 50s. And you nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, you're going on to the next one.
Yep. Yeah. I know. I mean, it's that emotional attachment. It's knowing, oh, I should have, could have, and those emotions still exist. The fact that I've worked to break the loop and am not running that loop over and over in my head doesn't mean that I don't still have residual emotions attached to it. And it's yes, it does bother me because I feel I could have done more, and it's okay. I have another, unfortunately, only 8 weeks until my next meet, but that's okay. And I'll train towards that meet. I'll go in, display what I got, and then in March, you and I will head to St. John's for the Nationals.
St. John's, Newfoundland. Yeah. Yeah. So, sorry, the sun's getting a little higher. It's a little harder to read the phone here.
We're also getting bombed by nuts. There's about 12 squirrels in the trees above us, and we picked the perfect spot to get nuts dropped on us.
Yeah, walnuts,
shells.
Acorns, you name it, they're up there. Yeah, so it all ties back to Yeshua's message on looping. Looping is the mind's way of seeking control, but freedom is found in trust and in presence, in the now moment. So yeah, so those thoughts, those fears, that's what they are, thoughts and fears. It's about, first of all, being aware enough to catch it in mid-flight and start breaking the loop. Breaking the loop. Wait, breaking the loop. So, yeah, it's about catching it in mid-flight and gently pulling yourself out of it and asking for help.
And it is okay to still have some emotion around it. You will. You're not a robot.
Yeah.
Or at least I shouldn't assume that.
Well,
most of us are not.
And
robots.
it is that underlying emotion that needs to be looked at during the loop. And it's usually fear. Fear is kind of that blanket one that encompasses all the little ones, guilt, shame, all that stuff. So yeah, it's not about
good enough.
Yeah, and I've realized it's not about solving the past. It's about letting myself feel and release it. So yeah, looping doesn't change anything that happened.
No,
it only makes you crazy.
It just keeps you emotionally stuck where you were.
Yep, and keeps your frequency low
instead of allowing you to grow.
Yeah.
So that's why it's understanding that it exists and being able to take time to think about what are the loops that I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
What are the loops that I'm stuck in as it relates to, again, myself, my body, my numbers, whatever, my family, my work. What are those loops and what am I stuck in? And once I can identify them, then I have that chance to break that loop and allow it to no longer trap me in the past, so that I can grow beyond it and improve, which is, ultimately what I think all of us want to do. We want to continue to become better versions of ourselves.
And this isn't about running around finger pointing at your family or your friends or your coworkers.
It's only at you.
And saying, oh, you're looping again. I can't listen to this. Although sometimes that's what we do say.
Yeah, or you may
but
feel that.
yeah, it's actually about pointing the finger this way, looking in the mirror and saying, every day, saying, where can I do better? Sometimes replaying a conversation to see where you could have done better is not a bad thing. And if you feel like you need to apologize or soften something, then do it with that person. But don't let yourself get lost in that loop. It's meant to teach you something about you. Okay, how could I have said this differently? How could I have acted differently? Did my words cause harm? Does my looping cause other people to get sucked in? Does my looping cause me to have not a lot of quality people around me? Because unfortunately, people who loop, they're not bad. It's just their frequency is so dense that it can be challenging to be in their presence for any length of time. So, and especially if you are a starseed who is working towards ascension, you are going to cause those loops to be stronger for people because your light is shining on their shadow in your presence, and it makes them kind of loop more.
Makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah, so you'll notice that they go into more frantic loops, it seems. So yeah, and how to break it is basically what we've said. You know, you can visualize the break, and then ask for help from your guides to come in and say, okay, lift me out of this. Let's think about something else, and then like focus on something different. Your eyes, literally on something around you. You know, to bring you back to present.
Yeah, because and it is okay to acknowledge the emotion, because there's always an emotion or some type of motivation behind that looping that isn't just the looping, like whether it's the feeling of just not being good enough. And so it's okay to acknowledge that, but as Joe said, don't sit in it.
Yeah.
Right? Acknowledge it, understand it, let it go, and come back to the present, right? Instead of worrying about, you know, my numbers as the example we've been using. You know, we're out here this morning filming this video, sitting in an absolutely gorgeous park setting on the Plains of Abraham in Quebec City. And after this, we're going to take a walk into Old Quebec. And if you haven't been here, I would recommend you coming. The people are
Great energy.
Absolutely beautiful. The place is gorgeous. So unique. Well, I'm sure there are places like similar to this in Europe. I know there are.
Well, yeah, but if you can't get there,
if you're in Canada, it's a whole lot easier to come out to Quebec City.
Yeah.
Or the States.
Yeah.
Come up to Quebec.
We still love our American friends.
We do.
We do. All of our American neighbors, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We stand with you also.
Yeah, we'll get through whatever's going on right now, and you know, the trade talks and everything. It'll get resolved. It's happened.
Loops. Talk
so
about
many
loops.
times.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, thank you for being here, and this has been fun. I think we need to do more random pop-up things like this. So yeah, God bless, and go put your feet on the grass and let some of that stress drain out of you today.
Yeah, and feel free to identify and break some loops. Oh, and subscribe, like, hit the notification bell.
Subscribe.
All those things. Yeah, I think we're supposed to point down.
That's what other ones do. Oh, subscribe.
Have a beautiful day,
guys. Thank
everybody.
you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.